Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Allaboutfpl podcast. It's been an eventual week. We saw a lot of prize reveals. The game has went live, and we've all made a couple of drafts. We've tinkered here and there. So it's Surya here Aditya, and Srini from Allaboutfpl going to walk you through this stream, covering a lot of things, right from the unlimited transfers to rating drafts and taking questions from the community. So, how are you doing, guys? Aditya and Srini?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Surya. Like it has been good to see FPL back and have the stream back. So playing around with the drafts, like playing around with 5 drafts a day, and it's quite fun. Miss the FPL.
Yeah. How's it going for you, Aditya?
Yeah, same. Likewise, I mean, we were all refreshing the page for so long on what was it, Tuesday,
Tuesday.
and eventually I missed. So I was entire afternoon here in Indian time. I was checking it out, not like constantly, but like within like half an hour, 1 hour or so. But
Yeah.
evening, I decided not to check because I thought it might not come. It's too late. But then I get a message saying it's up, and then all these people with lower ID wars and all. So
Yeah.
that was again like
The
I'm not
same
bothered.
here. Funnily, I had a master's exam then, and it went live while I was giving the exam, and I wanted a low ID so badly that I paused my exam, went did an auto pick, and then got back to the team. Yeah, so it was a fun maniac day. Let's not talk about it more. Yeah. So today we'll be covering hopefully covering all of the talking points that's mentioned here. It's quite elaborate. So we're going to look at the fixtures till game week 8. Why game week 8 is because that's when we break for our first international break. So we thought it's good to see it that way till game week 8. And also, there's only one major rule change this year, which is the unlimited transfers that we get during the World Cup break. So essentially, it's three wild cards, or say two wild cards plus unlimited transfers during that window. And moving on, we did a thread that was quite good. So we wanted to talk about the budget assets and how they rotate with each other. So this gives us an idea of players to target and also how they rotate. Having a Man City fan, it's of course needed to discuss about Man City and how they could line up because with Sterling looking to move, Mares getting a new contract, Alvarez coming in as well. So will Pep change his tactics or not? That's up to Srini for for him to brief us. Then as we'll look at a few preseason friendlies that's happened so far with Jesus scoring a brace yesterday, and some summer signings. Then at the last, we had a lot of drafts from the community, so we thought we'll rate the drafts and answer a few question answers from the audience watching live as well. Yeah, yeah. So first things first, this is the timeline from the start of the season till the Premier League FPL resumes back after the World Cup. So as you could see, it's pretty congested. With a lot of games. There is no rest at all for the Big Six in starting September, so which kind of gives us the idea of unlimited transfers, which is introduced by FPL this season. So, what's your thoughts on that, Srini? Like, how do you think this changes FPL as a whole, at least in the first half of the season?
Yeah, so like as we spoke, we can simply break down the season into different parts so that we can have a better understanding. So this explains it pretty much because like first only West Ham, by the looks of it, the top six teams will be playing more matches before the World Cup break. Because of the World Cup happening, the CL gets preponed, and there will be plenty of matches for the Big Six. And there will be also five subs rule, which means there could be plenty of rotation among the Big Six teams. But to start off initially, I think the thought process of having early wild card can allow us to gamble a little bit more because you can pick a team for the first 3 game weeks where the Big Six teams won't have the Carabao Cup second round where 13 Premier League teams are involved, like I mentioned in this picture. So yeah, I think for you can take it a few blocks by block and see for that week. No long term planning is required. Is what or my initial thought. Long term thought process is required, but no long term planning will be required for this season. Is what comes across my mind.
Yeah. Aditya, do you see any change in how you will be approaching this season in the first half, especially? with the unlimited transfers and the schedule. Because as Srini pointed out, for the first month in August, the big six are quite relieved because they don't have to play the Carabao Cup second round. But it's an inverse starting September, wherein there's every midweek there's UCL games. So is that invoking a change in how you approach FPL this season?
Yes, definitely. I mean, at least previous seasons and all, we just had two wildcards, and then we had to sort out and use one wildcard only throughout the first half of the season till around December. But now with the World Cup in between, and then they are also giving us unlimited transfers so that we can set our squad later. So I think, logically speaking, even as we covered in the previous stream, that we'll break the season into smaller halves and then attack those halves rather than looking at the longer picture. Probably the longer picture idea will work well after the World Cup is done and after the
Yeah,
transfer window. So at this particular segment, probably game week 1 to 8. So you build your teams focusing on the first 8 weeks. Probably I would say then hit a wild card in game week
yeah,
9 around so, and focus your team till the World Cup, and then you have the unlimited transfers, and then you can focus on for the rest. And then wildcard 2 comes into picture around January. So I think that's how everybody's going to probably play, and that's how it is sensible at this point.
yeah,
And we are all making drafts with various players, which will totally change as we get closer to about 3 weeks time.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's how my approach is going to be for now. We'll see how things go on in a few weeks.
Yes, yes, yes. And I I even saw a few shouts for a game week 2 wildcard, a planned game week 2 wildcard lesson, going all in and attacking game week 1 and then wildcard game week 2. So this opens up the slot of wildcarding early as well. So it's going to be interesting how managers take in. So this image pretty much sums up how crowded it will be for the big six starting September. As you see, every midweek there is either the UCL or a midweek game week. So to our audio listeners, the UCL group stages generally finish in December, but since it's the World Cup year, UCL game weeks finish in November, which means all the midweeks that are available is being filled by games. So the big six will rotate heavily considering how each of the top six teams are expanding their squads this season. So rotation is pretty much inevitable. Yeah. So moving on, so it's our fixture ticker. So it's the FDR is based on official FPL for now. So we wanted to look till game week 8 to see which teams have a good start, which teams have a bad start, any outside the top six teams that have a pretty decent fixture and that will enable us to target them. So who stands out to you, Srini, when you look at this block? Yeah.
Yeah, looking at the big six teams, it's pretty much the same what everyone sees from the fixture ticket. It's Man City and Liverpool all the way. And I think like most teams, it would be tempting to go without a Salah draft so that you can accommodate 14 good players in your team. But I think come game week 1, everyone will be scared to go no Salah, and we will surely have Salah and Trent in our teams. So regarding the Man City fixtures are good, but I'm not sure like who are the picks at the moment. No one is sure except Cancelo. Like whether you want to spend 7 million on Cancelo or you can get two good premium players like James and Silver at 6 million, and you can get Diaz, someone like Diaz. So it's pretty much a difficult question like who to target from City. City fixtures look good, but it's not straightforward like Liverpool on how to attack their fixtures.
Mm.
Outside
Yeah,
top
interesting.
six, yeah, outside top six, what I see is mainly Brighton and Brentford have the great fixtures. Brighton have Manchester United, Newcastle, West Ham, Leeds, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, and Crystal Palace for the first 8 weeks, which means they'll be playing only one top six game in the first 8 weeks. That is also against Manchester United, where they got a very good victory around last time. So I think that like we can target the 4.5 defenders from Brighton and Brentford, and a few punts in attack like Trossard and Tony, who have been performing like kind of consistent picks and reliable picks in Premier League. Generally, they have the experience of playing around, and you can target for the initial 8 weeks.
Yeah. Aditya, any gems that you thought of from outside the top six based on these fixtures? Uh, yeah.
I mean, at first, based on my squad structure at this point, even what I had, I mean, Pedro Neto is someone that everybody's having at this point because this is the first preseason bandwagon before the game week even begins. So the train is very much leaving the station at this point, but no, the train will never leave because the game week hasn't begun yet. So
Yeah,
Pedro Neto, I think 5.5 looks like a great shout for that price. And I think Saint Max is 6.5 and he's back as a midfielder.
yeah, yeah,
So those are a couple of players who have caught my eye at first when I was kind of making a draft. Because if you notice the budget from 6.5 to
yeah.
8 or 7.5 midfield, you don't have,
Have a
you
lot of
know,
options.
the
Yeah,
yeah. So and then in forwards, actually, you have around from 7 to 8 a couple of players who you can move around. But again, consistency is out of the picture in that price range because they're just going to explode in few weeks and then they're going to give you a regular 2, 4 pointers and all. So I think, as I said, Saint Max, Neto, and I think Mbeumo is gone as a forward now at 6. So
yeah. He's
those
a
are a
forward
couple of
six.
moves here and there. And we are hearing that Armando Broja might leave Chelsea to which team. So I think he's around 5 or 5.5. So those, I mean, the transfer window hasn't yet, caught its pace. Apart from the teams that are known to have proper structure and that buy players very well, unlike the ones here. So, so I think, yeah, I mean those. I mean Everton, Richarlison also has left. I mean people are looking at Everton assets, but I mean last season they just fought a relegation sort of battle.
Yeah,
But I'm really looking at Wolves and I want to see how well they're going to play because I think they've
yeah,
got Luis Sinistera. I think he was great at Feyenoord last season in the Eredivisie. So I mean there are a
yeah.
couple of players here and there, but I think as we see more of preseason results and performances, I think we'll be able to determine whether we have those gems at those prices.
Yeah, I think Sinistera moved to Leeds, and one disappointing fact was that he was priced at 6.5. So I was kind of expecting he would come in at 5.5 because Aronson is 5.5 for Leeds. He plays centrally as a 10. So yeah, a- as you pointed out, one more player that stood out for me was Bruno Guimaraes. He's 6. He was very good for Newcastle last season towards the end. So his playing position is something that I'm very keen to look at during the preseason. If he plays a little bit up, or say ASM plays a little bit, plays on the wings consistently, then it's going to be a good option. Newcastle midfielders have not been spoken a lot about. It's always been about Pedro
It's main
Neto for a while. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's mainly because of the fixtures Newcastle are going through. Like you can see from the fixture taker here, they have Man City and Liverpool in game week 3 and game week 5, which are
Mhm.
difficult games. And will you want to bench someone like 7.5 7 million forward in Wilson or a Saint
Mhm.
6 million Bruno Gomes on the bench for 2 weeks out of the first 5 weeks in this
Yeah,
kind of season? So those are the thoughts of avoiding Newcastle. And as Aditya pointed out, like the 7 million 7.5 million striker spot is something which we can rotate on. I think we have a slide on it
yeah.
coming
We'll
up.
go on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and one more interesting fact is that since the premiums are being kindly priced, it means the number of slots outside the top six is pretty much less because you get, if you go big at the back and then have two premiums, you pretty much have 7 8 players from the top six, and even with United having kind of prices, you pretty much have 3 4 slots outside the top six to fill, and at varying price points. So it kind of reduced the fun for me, at least, because now everybody has, if it's a if it's a big at the back draft, it's two Liverpool
Definitely.
defenders, one City defender, one Chelsea defender, and Persic. So I kind of made it a little bit boring for me. But anyways, preseason opens up a lot more out of position players and a lot more gems. Hopefully we get a few this year as well. Yeah. Moving on. Yeah. So again, yeah, we touched base upon this a little bit before. It's about the wild card dilemma. So generally, a rule or a suggestion which every content creator gives to players is that hold your first wild card as long as possible at the when the season begins. But this time that will not hold good, I feel, because we're looking at shorter blocks. So with the unlimited transfer, What's your plan at the moment, Srini? I know it would change, but what's your initial thoughts of when
So
you want to use?
just to point it out to make it the rule clear for everyone. So we have two wildcards this season, and apart from that, we have unlimited transfers during the World Cup. That is between game week 16 and game week 7. We have unlimited 17. We have unlimited transfers. So this means that you have to play your first wildcard between 1 to 16, and game week 16 to 17 is the block during the World Cup where you will have unlimited transfer, and you can play your second wildcard between game week 17 and game week 38 anytime. So yeah, so since you have to play your first wild card bit before game week 16, so my initial thought process is see the season in small blocks like what we discussed. Game week 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 is where no European football takes place, where most of the big six teams will be playing all their main players, and then uh, game week 3 is where the
Yeah.
Carabao Cup takes place for the 13 smaller teams. But looking at small blocks like that, and next comes the game week 6 to game week 8, another phase where there will be continuous midweek action and there will be plenty of rotation in the Premier League games.
Yeah.
And game week 9 is where the international break takes place and players come back. So game week 9 is one slot, but this season is a season where you can be very much flexible. If you're not having
Yeah.
a good season, and if you want to change your squad around game week 3 or game week 4, it's definitely a good option. Like it's not a
Yeah.
point like you should play the wildcard in game week 9. You should hold it pretty longer because you anyways get an unlimited transfers at game week 16. If you don't have a
Yeah.
good goalkeeper, if your goalkeeper is not performing and you have
Hmm.
2-3 injuries in your squad, you can very much go ahead and play your wildcard in game week 3 or game week 4.
Yeah, as in that's a good point because last year I remember I played my wildcard game week 4, and the scenario completely changed by game week 16. With a lot more of changes happening, a couple of teams doing well and not doing well. So this time that's not the case because you essentially will have another wildcard when the first half of the season is coming to a close. Yeah, last year interestingly the template also took off to a good start. So I would still stay the same, as in you start with the template and then see if it works out or not. If it's not working out, then probably you can change it as early as possible to be flexible with your choices. Yeah, Aditya,
Yeah,
what's your timeline of changing the wild?
yeah, one thing I'd like to
Yeah,
add on to what Surya told us, like this is the season where you can start. The general template would be go with two premium attackers
yeah,
and going with two or three premium defenders. But this is the season where you have the option, and it is not a bad choice to play an early wild card. So you can
mm,
start the season with three premiums like Son, Salah, and Haaland, and you can see where things go because they have good captaincy rotation among three premiums, and your
yeah,
captaincy is sorted. So
yeah.
I think uh, the unlimited transfers between game week 16 and 17 and the prospect of an early wild card opens up the way to go for a three premium attack from game week 1 itself. So that you can, if it doesn't work out, you can hit the wild card in game week 3 and game week 4 and switch around.
So it ultimately boils down to premium defenders versus these value defenders in 4.5 to 5.5, because we've been kind enough to have a lot of good 4.5 defenders. We'll of course see a lot more of that soon. If we can downgrade a few premium defenders to 4.55 defenders and then make three premiums which will sort the captaincy as well, that could be a good strategy to go with. So people
Because
that
going
want to,
going with
yeah,
three premium also adds up to, like, if you have a Son, Salah, and Haaland in your team, the switches become more easy. If you want to
yeah,
downgrade Haaland to someone like Tony, it opens up
mm,
the funds everywhere. You can
yeah,
move
yeah, correct.
4.5 to a Robertson.
Yeah,
So because that comes under two moves. But if you have like two premium attackers, you will eat up more transfers. If you want to, it will take three or four transfers
yeah.
to make up the change the structure of your squad.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Aditya, your thoughts on this? Like, when's your ideal wildcard time? The first one currently.
Well, as I said earlier, I think I'm more likely looking to wildcard only after game week 8 for the second stretch after the international break is where I'm looking, and it really depends on how you build your team and with what structure you go up with. If you go up with more premiums, it gets easier for you to downgrade obviously from premium to a mid-price player and then spreading your funds. That's one way. or you go with not a lot of premiums and with mid-price players, and then maybe hit a wild card early on, maybe before game week, maybe around 4 or 5, if things don't go according to plan and all the premium starts firing. Like for example, in my current draft, I don't have Haaland, and
Hmm.
I've gone with just two premium defenders, two premium midfielders, and one around sort of mid-priced forward or two. That's how I've gone with, and that's how you have to tinker around and find your structure. So your structure is what is going to determine what kind of players you want to get in at what time. And if you
Yeah.
don't have those players at this point, and it's like the race has already begun and you're way behind, you might have to hit the wild card at that point.
Yes, I think a lot of people say are concerned that few drafts don't have an 8 million midfielder slot. Uh, as Srini pointed out, it's easy to downgrade from a Son, Arasala to a Luis Diaz, or Saka or anyone in that range than upgrade, because that would invoke a lot more transfers. So yeah, even I'm mostly like looking to slide to the three premium attackers draft. So let's see how the next few weeks come along. Yeah. Moving on. Yeah, this is something that we covered. So here's where the rotation and the budget midfielders, budget forwards, and mid-price forwards come in. So it's a work of magic done by Srini. So I'll let him do the talking here. Yeah.
So yeah, the main question what we have been thinking on is what is the who is the best 7.57 million or 8 million forward to choose from. 8 million comes at a different price range, so we'll include till 7.5. Since Gabriel Jesus is a lock in most of those teams after the game
Yes.
yesterday,
Yes.
we'll
Yes.
look at how who is the best 7.5 forward at the moment. So instead of having 2 or 3 7.5 forwards, it will affect the structure of your squad. Since you will have a Kane or a Haaland for sure in game week 1, and then have a 4.5 forward. So the ideal thing would be to have 1 7 to 7.5 forward in your squad, and then rotate based on the fixtures. So as you can see from the on the screen here, I'll read it out for the audio listeners. For game week 1 to game week 2, you can go with Inks or Watkins, who are Bournemouth away and Everton home. And after game week 2, you can do the transfer of Inks or Watkins to Tony. From game week 3, Brentford play Fulham away, Everton home, Palace away, Leeds home, Southampton away, and Arsenal home. So this means that you will have only one game against uh, till game week 7. You won't have any games against the big six, and there will be that you will have games against Bournemouth, Everton, Fulham, and again Everton, Leeds. So
Yeah.
five of those games where your 7 or 7.5 forward is capable of getting a double digit haul.
Yeah.
So I think this is the time, like you can even try Wilson for the first 2 weeks if Wilson is also an interesting option for the first 2 weeks, and then move on to Tony from game week 3. So, and going forward, you can move on from Tony to Wilson in game week 9, where Wilson has a good run of fixtures till game week 11, and then going to DCL till the World Cup, where DCL will be also having good run of games till game week 16. So, this is one of the plans which you can consider for your mid price forward.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because people generally look for one solid 7.5 forward and try to keep them for a longer period of time, but it doesn't work that way, because the fixture is more important for these mid-price forwards than a big premium forward. So even though it needs 2 3 transfers to be done, but it's a good point, because you'll get uh, 3 or 4 promoted teams in the first 8 game week. That in itself is a very good chance, considering you'll have to spend a transfer or two. It's something for the viewers to ponder. Aditya, what's your thoughts on that 7.5 forward slot, that mid-price forward slot? Who are you looking at right now?
Well, my current draft, the one is to Gabriel Jesus,
Yeah.
because it's not like I picked him in my auto pick. It was Jesus who got selected, so I'm just keeping him.
Yeah.
And the other slot for now, I have Watkins, and I think I'm pretty much. See, the thing is, as we've mentioned on the screen, and those who are listening, the early rotation planner. So we've been very careful to mention that just an early insight, because once game week 1, game week 2 comes into play, you know, all of a sudden Tony might not. I mean,
Yeah, it
let's not
happens.
jinx anything. Things
Yeah.
might not go to plan at the end of the day. So these things could change. So at the moment, yeah, on paper this looks really great. I mean, you can go with Ings. probably Watkins might be safer pick at
Yeah.
7.5 probably. So Watkins and then moving on to Ivan Toney is it's great. By the
Yeah.
time when you reach game week 9, I think you'll have a fair idea of how Newcastle have played, so you can judge. If not,
Yeah.
go with somebody else. You'll hit your wild card if you're doing so at that point. Shuffle
Yeah.
around. By game week 12, by this plan, you're saying DCL, you will have fair amount of idea how Everton have actually played by then. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
great plan to look at from now at this point where we are in about 3 weeks away from the start of the season. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good plan for now. I think Watkins is 7.5 is great. If not, I think people have Haaland, and then they're going with Undav, and
Yeah.
other 5.5 is 6 million
Yeah.
is forwards like Embo and all, just for the sake of mentioning at that price bracket, and
Yeah.
then just sort of shuffling it down. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
squad structure is what is going to determine how we are going to go aggressive with the players.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
add to it, like this plan of going from uh, Watkins to Tony to Wilson to DCL till game week 16 will consume you 4 transfers, but at the cost of you will enjoy playing, you will enjoy having a 7.5 forward, having no games against the top 5 teams. Because
Mm.
I'm someone who thinks like if Tony is up against a team like Bournemouth, he is certain to get more points than a premium pick like Haaland up against Chelsea or Liverpool. So
Yeah.
yeah, so till game week 60, you're not getting any games against the top 5 teams. You have 6 games against the promoted sides, 8 games against the bottom 9 sides. So I think it is more than a good plan to attack.
Yeah. So moving on, yeah, I think we pretty much covered all of the below 7.5 forwards at this time. So we'll just jump on to the attacking defenders. So these guys come into the picture if you're not going on a big at the back, as in big at the back using premium defenders. So these are all 4.5 defenders at the max who rotate well. So Srini, why not walk us through this? Yeah.
So for the audio listeners, I'm reading it out. This plan is having Tierney till game week 7, moving on to Trippier between game week 8 to game week 13, and game week 14 to game week 16 having Doherty from Tottenham. So all the three are 5 million plays. Like Surya told, this is the plan where you can still have 3 premium defenders and have one 5 million defender in your team. So all three are 5 million. So you can have a James, Cancelo, Trent, and one of these defenders and a 4.5 defender in your team. So this structure allows you to, like, you will be just making 3 transfers till the World Cup in game week 16. So this transfer will allow you, like, you get the good games. So I think this is the season where you should more or less, we are looking at more early insights in the rotation plan because you need to attack the fixtures more than not. This is the season where you can take those risks and have a Trippier against the small teams instead of a Cancelo against another team like Chelsea, or Trent against Arsenal, or a difficult game. So, like, game week 1 to 7, Tierney will be playing Bournemouth away, Fulham home, and Everton home. 3 good games between game week 1 to game week 7. So, this is the
Yeah.
plan which we are looking. And moving on to Trippier in game week 8 will allow you. He'll be up against Fulham away in game week 8, Brentford home in game week 9, United away in game week 10, and Everton home in game week 11. Yeah, so he also gets 2 games against Fulham away and Everton home, where he could be a very good differential at that price point. And finally, moving to Spurs, where we will get an idea by game week 13 if Doherty will be nailed, or Spence
Spence.
will be pushing him for a spot, and
Yeah.
or Emerson Royal suddenly picks up form, or injury, Doherty, something happens. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
between game week 13 and game week 16, Tottenham have Newcastle home, Bournemouth away, Liverpool home, and Leeds home. So these are
Yeah.
another 4 good fixtures.
Yeah. I think interestingly, Trippier is. I'm very much sold on Trippier because he's just 5 million, and with the tall, lanky defenders that they have in Botman and Scar, they are the two that's mostly going to start at centre back. He's a really good threat from set piece. He's known to be a set piece specialist. So Trippier also has the potential of attacking returns plus defensive returns, considering their back four is pretty good now. I'm really good hopes for the Newcastle defense. For Arsenal, for people that's slightly worried about Tierney, Tomiyasu is another option. He's 0.5 cheaper as well, and he's a fullback. So it's up to you to decide. And as Srini pointed out, for Spurs, the right back slot should give us a clear idea come game week 1, because you'll know if Spence comes in or not. If not, Doherty is going to be the absolute first choice. Emerson is being pushed out so that they can afford Spence. Uh, and you could save that point 0.5 on Perisic as well, because Sessegnon was really good towards the end of the season. So I feel the backup wing back would push Perisic more than the one at the right side. And even if Spence comes in, he's going to be at the max 5 million. I don't think they're going to take him and put it 5.5. So with so much attention on Perisic, there's been a lack of attention on the right back slot at Spurs. So that's an insight I think that every listener could dig into, because that's going to be a very interesting spot. Yeah. Aditya, your thoughts on these three teams: Arsenal, Newcastle, Spurs? They are pretty much super improved defenses during the second of the season. What's your thoughts on them? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only worry with TN is that the
Yeah.
injury history is what concerns a lot of us. And
Yeah.
I mean, last season, Tomiyasu was great till one point, and then probably even he got injured for a while and was not able to recover, and then we had some problems there. So Ben
Yeah.
White had to play right back, Cedric had to play left back, right back here, and then Nuno Tavares had to play. So that's the worrying fact with Arsenal. But I think if he stays fit, he's a great option at 5. If not, I think Tomiyasu at 4.5 and White, I think probably the best option at that price bracket from a top 6 side. So I think Tierney is a good shot. Trippier, we all know how well he was even at Spurs few seasons back. His set piece ability is one of the best, probably his free kick, all corners and all. His set piece ability is great. So even he gives you a shout from there in terms of points. So I think, as you said, I think Newcastle also kind of improved very well defensively towards the end of last season. So I think having him is a great shot. I mean, as you said, right, wildcard time is what game week 8-9 is where we're seeing, and
Mm.
Trippier at that point, right? We
Yeah. Correct.
would have judged their performances. We could make a call and then get
Absolutely.
in. So I think that gives us a pretty much great set of plan at this point. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
with regards to Doherty, again, we'll see if they
Yeah.
get judgments or not. So it just really depends on that. And I mean, last season, that particular spell from around game week, what was it, 28 onwards last season, where Doherty kind of hauled very well and then unfortunately got injured. So,
Injured. Yeah.
I mean, we all know how well he has played for Wolves under Nuno a few seasons back. Unfortunately, couldn't do well at Spurs because of Mourinho and all those
Yeah.
time there. But I think last season he kind of played well,
But those
and
4 5 game weeks, he
it was
sat really
really good.
well to Conte's system. He was really good. He exactly was how Conte's wing backs were at Chelsea. Like, he gave me
More
flashbacks
than
to Victor Moses. Yeah, so
all.
is he looked like a player made for Conte's system those 4 5 game weeks. So let's see what happens there.
The
Yeah,
signing of Perisic should also add up to Doherty's all potential is what I think. Like he has the
yeah,
ability to get in those crosses.
yeah,
Perisic can cross with his left and right. So
yeah.
yeah, shout out
Interesting.
to FPL Sweden on a thread about Perisic. Like everything is covered on how Perisic can improve Doherty as a pick and whether
Yeah,
Perisic can be a good or is a trap or a good defender
yeah.
at 5.5 million.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That is a very good trade. Yeah. So moving on. So we have a lot more of 4.5 defender combinations as well. So we're gonna just, for the sake of time, we'll quickly run it through. I'll let Srini do the honors here. Yeah.
Yeah, so like going with there will be a squad structure where you can go with three, you can afford to go with 4.5 defenders. This will be a strategy which will be very less played, but I think going with Trent and Cancelo eats up more money on your defense. So if you want to go with three premium attackers, I think having 4.5 defenders in your squad helps. And one such choice of having 4.5 defenders is you can play two of them and bench one. And one
Yeah.
such combination which you can rotate very well is an Arsenal defender, a Brentford defender, and a Newcastle defender. So the Arsenal defender can be White or Tomiyasu. Like White will be the safer pick as Aditya mentioned, and the Brentford pick can be Jansen or the new signing Hickey. We'll need to see, and
Yeah.
the Newcastle 4.5 pick will be Dan Burn. So
Yeah, it
So
could
this
be it
strategy,
could be Burn. Yeah, it could be Burn or Scar or Botman. All of 4.5. We'll have to look at preseason to who starts. But yeah, there's one 4.5 defender slot Newcastle. That's essentially what you're trying to say here. Yeah.
yeah. So Newcastle have a if you have all the three in your squad, game week 1 you will have Forest home, Palace away. Game week 2 you will have Brighton away, Leicester home. Game week 3 you will have Bournemouth away, Fulham away. Game week, so that is something what the plan I think is made for. Like game week 3 you will have White or Tomiyasu against Bournemouth and Jansen against Fulham. So potential big hauls. Like you can bench the burn option in game week 3 for City home, which is a difficult fixture. And come game week 4 you will have Fulham away and Everton home. Game week 5, we will have Villa home, Palace away. Game week 6, we will have Palace home, Leeds home. Game week 7, we have West Ham away, Everton home. And game week 8, we'll have Bournemouth home and Brentford away. So
Yeah.
this is the plan where you can basically avoid all of the top 6 teams. You need not have a top 6 fixture at all for your
Mm.
4.5 defenders. Yeah, so 4.5 defenders outside top 6, these three are very good improved defenses, and they can have, imagine your 4.5 defender having a clean sheet. They are more likely to get a clean sheet in against outside the top 6 teams, and getting a bonus or an assist is an added bonus for me for my
Yeah.
4.5 defender.
Yes. That absolutely makes sense. So we have another pair like this, which is some of the popular defenders from Wolves and Brighton. So Arsenal, Wolves, Brighton as well rotate really well. Wolves have Johnny and Ryan Outnori at 4.5 million. Brighton have Lewis Dunk and Lamptey at 4.5. Arsenal, of course, have Ben White, Tomiyasu at 4.5. So again, as Srini pointed out, this structure works really well when you have like three 4.5 defenders, and as in you go for a three premium, you need to save money in the defense. So Arsenal, Wolves, Brighton again pretty much helps you avoid all of the top six except for United in the first 1 to 8 game weeks. But they also play a lot more of promoted teams. This three set of teams which balances out the United fixtures. So this is another start to bench one 4.5 defender option, especially that will come well if you're on a three premium draft. Yeah. So
Yeah,
uh,
going with this structure basically allows you, like you'll have zero fixtures against top 6 teams in 16 games. So you'll be
yeah,
starting two of your 4.5 defenders, which will be 32 fixtures till game week 16, right? And in
yeah,
this 32 fixtures, you will be having very few games against the top 6 and
yeah.
more
Yeah,
games against the promoted teams.
yeah, because Johnny is a very interesting case. Aditya, your thoughts on him, because he came back from injury and immediately scored a goal, two goals, I think, against Leeds and one more team. So he was an Atletico Madrid player, so he's a proven attacker. So what's your thoughts on that Wolves wing back slot? Yeah,
Definitely. I mean, if you look at my current draft, I have Trent, Cancelo, Johnny, Tomiyasu, and Burn. The Burn slot is completely, I'm not sure, as you said. With Newcastle, I think it's Botman who is most likely to play. I mean, at
yeah,
4.5. Botman is someone who will actually fancy even playing for Netherlands, probably even in
yeah,
there in that spot. So I think he's someone who's good. So with regards to Johnny, yes, I mean, unfortunately he got injured and it took a while for him to get back. And boy, oh boy, he did play well. And Johnny has been always one of those assets people have always looked up,
yeah,
even when Nuno was there. So you had Johnny and Doherty, and people were always struggling to pick which one to go. And at the end of the day, it was Doherty was the answer and not Johnny.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And now finally, after he's back and he played well last season towards the end, he just got a couple of games, but that good signs we saw.
yeah, yeah,
And
definitely. Yeah,
now I think I read one of the thread. I think it's one of our writers, right? In Allaboutfpl Black Wolf from the
yeah,
US
yeah,
community,
yeah,
and he put out a very nice thread for Wolves as it's just an early insight wherein he said that Ethnori could possibly play right back until Semedo is back,
yeah.
and
Then
Johnny is
switch.
someone who will make later, those, what do you say, last minute runs into the box, and
Yeah,
he has more of a goal threat rather than creativity. Creativity
yeah,
lies with Ethnori is what is very nicely mentioned. So I
yeah. He's
think
like that Chilwell player. Like he's there at the far post a lot more.
post,
Yeah,
yes.
I
yeah,
Nori has the assist potential and Johnny has
yeah,
the goal potential, to
yeah,
put in
yeah,
simple terms.
exactly. Mhm. Makes sense.
So
Yeah.
I think, as he had even mentioned in the thread, I think let's wait and see with preseason what how well they play, and then we'll have a fair idea. For I think for now, Johnny is a good shout. I think he even rightly said, even I'm saying both are equally good shouts. But last year we had that confusion of who was it? I think it was Eighth Nuri and it was Ruben Vinagre, right? That
Yeah.
preseason.
Yeah, he's permanently moved away from Wolves finally. So yeah,
So
Vinagre
that's
was I think Vinagre, Ferguson from Palace. All these are mythical FPL
Yeah, I
defenders.
think this season also we can have a potential 4.5 defender from Wolves in Totti. So last season he got 4 games between
he's
game week
four,
20
right?
and
Four, four,
yeah,
four.
he's
Sorry,
4 million
Four.
defender. Yeah, 4 million defender. He got 4 games between game week 20 and game week 38 last season. So since size is also more, they usually pay a back three. So he is currently the fourth choice. The first three choices are Cody, Killman, and who's the other? Cody Killman and it
That's why
should
we're not
be
Wolves fans.
yeah yeah Cody Killman and he should be the fourth choice and Boli
Bowley,
yeah
Bowley, yeah,
we
Bowley, yeah.
forgot
Boli,
Boli yeah
Billy Boli.
Yeah,
yeah so
Bowley.
they are the first three choices and Boli is already 31 32 he is injury prone so if any of the three center backs have an injury scare and Wolves don't make a signing at 4 million Totti can be a very very good potential at 4 million defender option.
Yeah, yes, the light. So let's move on. So there are few more play one, bench one pairs that are there. So again, once again, Newcastle and Palace are a good option. So it could be Botman, Scar, or Burn and Mitchell. So this again smartly avoids you the top six fixtures these two teams play until game week 8. The same with Aston Villa and Brentford. Janssen could be Hickey based on the transfer news. So Cash is someone that plays pretty much every game. He played 38 games last season. He scored 147 points, the highest Aston Villa point scorer, and he's just 5 million as well. So that's another good rotating pair.
The
Yeah.
second
So
option is what has got my eye actually, the
yeah,
cash and the Janssen one, because that is the one you are spending 9.5 million to play only one player each week, but at the cost of you will have 0 games against the last season top 8. You even won't have games against West Ham, Leicester, and any of the big six teams. So that is the one where you can totally attack the fixtures, and if it comes good, like cash has the goal potential also. So it's an interesting one.
yes. So moving on. So there are three more options. I think Srini, it's better if you go for it. Yeah.
Third option is going rotating a Leicester defender and a Brighton defender. The Leicester defender can be Justin, who is more likely to start at 4.5, and the Brighton defender can be Dunk or Lamptey at 4.5. So going with Dunk and Justin might be you'll have rotating them as per the fixture ticker shown on the screen. You'll have only one game against the top 8 till game week 16. So yeah, next one on the list is we have Johnny at 4.5 and Mitchell at 4.5. Wolves defender and Palace defender rotating them. So going by this sticker, we'll have again only one fixture versus top 6 till game week 16, and you'll have more games against the promoted sides. And the final option is going rotating Johnny at 4.5 and Justin at 4.5. So this is also another plan where you can take advantage of the fixtures, attack your playing your attacking fullbacks against the promoted teams or someone like Everton and Leeds where they concede a lot of goals and take advantage. There is value in 4.5 defenders, and I think a combination like rotating Johnny and Justin till game week 16 is not at all a bad idea.
Yeah, that makes sense. Srini, Aditya, your final touches on this rotation pair now, so that we can move on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, at 4.5, we are very fortunate we're getting attacking fullbacks at that price range. Because
Yeah, yeah,
previously we had certain occasions wherein they were overpriced a bit, like at 5, wherein it was like a little bit more, a little bit less. At 4.5,
Mhm.
I think with Johnny and Justin looks great, and with I think Leicester not even playing any European competition now.
Yeah,
We are
exactly.
finally probably will see a Leicester team that has to focus on the Premier League rather than getting lost a bit here and there. So I think Justin also had a great start few seasons back, got injured, now he's back. I think Ricardo Pereira, I'm not sure what I think whether he's injured or not or what's the story there. So I think Justin is someone And Johnny and Justin probably is the ideal pair here because both are fullbacks and who are offensive. So I think that's the pair I would like here, because the other ones, I mean, Dunk and all. My thinking is that I don't like to have a double defense, like goalie and defender from the same team. Like for example, people will have situations where they'll have Sanchez and Dunk. Wherein I mean, like then if you're supposed to start both Sanchez and Dunk and both their clean sheets get wiped in that
Yeah,
particular, you lose points wherein you could
yeah,
have done a bit of proper planning. So that's why I'm
yeah.
kind of avoiding that. But I think Johnny Justin option 5 is good at this point.
Yes, yes. That's fair enough for the rotation planner. So this is a controversial one because yeah, few like it, few love it, few hate it. This is the budget keeper rotation because this would make you spend 9 million. That is zero point 0.5 more than what your ideal thinking of 4.5 plus 4. And there's also an interesting option with Mendy coming at 5, Allison and Edison at 5.5. So there is this debate of either do you want to spend 8.5 million or 9 million or 9.5 million for your goalkeepers. So I'm not going to read too much into it. So I'll just quickly say Raya and Sanchez are a good option. Similarly, Raya and Henderson. I think Raya and Henderson means you would avoid a top six team till game week 15. Am I right, Srini? Or that?
Yeah, you will have 0 games against top 6 teams and 4 games against promoted teams and 7 games against the bottom 8 teams. Going with the
Yeah.
first combination would give you 0 games. Raya and Sanchez would give you 0 games against the last season top 7.
Yeah. I think by this point, I think Srini has by heart the the various rotation pairs with their combinations as well.
But
So
I
that was a
might
good.
might take up
Yeah,
a different strategy because, like you mentioned, like Mendy coming in at five
yeah,
million, you are
yeah,
spending 4.5 on two keepers, and
yeah,
this is little tricky, right? Because you can
yeah,
have the smaller teams keep a clean sheet against the bigger teams. You will have the
yeah,
clean sheet points, bonus points, and save points. So
yeah,
you can do rotating is little tricky. You
yeah.
need to have some luck, which we don't have at FPL usually. So
Yes.
I think going with Mendy and a 4 million keeper is also a good option.
Yeah, and the same with I have my eyes on Henderson because he got 160 points for Sheffield when they finished ninth in the Premier League, which was a very good haul because Pope finished that season as top with 170 points, which meant all eyes were on Pope. But 160 points for a promoted team keeper was really, really good. He played 45 minutes yesterday as well. Henderson for the first time, so he's slowly starting to get the minutes as well. So my eyes are there. We have a couple of drafts from our followers with Allison, with Mendy, so we'll talk more about that in the coming slides. So yeah, so this is where so we wanted to not just show our drafts and talk about it. So we wanted to have a bit of a different idea. So we pulled out drafts from our followers on Instagram, Twitter who have sent our draft. So we'll slowly start looking into one. So I'll first go with Adam's draft. For the listeners, he has Mendy in goal. So, Aditya, what's your take on that? It takes a Chelsea spot, but it's just 5 million. Yeah,
I think that's fine with regards to Chelsea because we are not sure about the attack and midfield who is going to play at this point.
yeah,
If that was Ellison, I will be a bit concerned because I mean you have Trent Salah and then your third
yeah,
spot if Ellison takes up where you could
yeah,
have filled with maybe Diaz or Nunes is where you have the problem. With
yeah,
City also, I'm not that worried because Ederson is someone who will play all the games. So
yeah,
that's nailed. You will not have the confusion of anybody from the defense not playing. So
yeah,
Ederson will play. But in terms
mm,
of the attack, where the confusion lies, so people will kind of be confused not to go. So people will go with Ederson. So that's a better move. But Mendy, yes, he's someone who will play most of the games. And
yeah,
basically, when you're paying 5 and you're paying another goalkeeper with 4, that means Mendy is playing all the game
yeah,
weeks. There's no headache of rotation.
yeah. So looking at his draft on the whole, so he has Mendy in goal, Cancelo, Laporte in a City doubler, James, Trippier, and Trent. So he's gone pretty heavy at the back, but I think it's balanced as well because Laporte and Trippier are not that expensive. It's a double City and a double Chelsea defense. I quite like it, but it's just a two premium draft with Son and Salah. That is the price you pay for having a big at the back
The
structure.
only issue I see with this draft is I like this draft, like, but doubling up on Chelsea when you have 3 games against Tottenham, Leicester, and West Ham till game week 8,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be three potential games where they don't surely keep a clean sheet. With
Yeah,
the
yeah.
absence of centre backs also, they haven't
Mhm,
signed anyone yet. So I'm a
mhm,
little skeptical on Chelsea double up till game week 8. So
mhm.
yeah, I think James will do, and maybe downgrade Mendy to a 4.5 goalkeeper and invest the money to upgrade Douglas Lewis to someone like Gordon or a Pedro Neto. That
Yeah,
would
because
be one of the
Douglas
solutions.
Lewis is expected to leave as well. He's not signing a new contract with Villa, and Villa have signed a lot more midfielders now. So that's Douglas Lewis one tough spot, and the bench has Mitrovic, which I feel is not a good option to begin with, considering
No, no,
Fulham
no. You're going to get
fixture.
trolled.
Yeah, so it could be Unda, it could be Abioni, the Forest for new forward. So there's a lot more value in that 5.56 slot. Other than that, it's a pretty solid draft. So what the next one? So I'll move on to Cameron. So it's an interesting case because he's playing FPL for the very first time, and his draft is as well pretty good. It is impressive for someone playing the first time. So Aditya, your rating of his draft, like just walk us through. Yeah.
I mean, for a player who's playing for probably for the first time, has done a good job of picking up. The structure looks good for a first draft, for a
Yeah,
first draft also, and he's picked even Pedro Neto.
yeah,
So he's
because he's been
probably
our follower. So yeah,
consuming a lot of content, and he's able to
He's in the
find
right
those
direction.
players. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
only thing we were saying, Ellison, right? Ellison is where I'll be concerned. If there are people who will have Salah and Luis Diaz both,
Mm,
and
mm,
you'll have Trent. So if you
mm.
want Luis Diaz, then Ellison will kind of eat your position of Liverpool. That's where I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah,
So Ruben Diaz and Cancelo, yeah, I mean Reece James, Perisic is someone again like I will wait and watch and decide on
yeah.
Perisic is what I would say. Jacob Murphy, I'm not sure.
It's
Andres
just a
Pereira,
bench. I think it's for a bench. Yeah, yeah,
that's a
yeah,
fodder. Pereira is also on the bench. So
yeah.
this is basically
Five
it's a
three two.
back five
Five
three
Five
three
two.
two.
three two, five
Yeah,
three two. Yeah, but he
and
needs to
Benrahma,
start Ben. Yeah, the Ben drama
hmm,
is where the issue comes. So
there.
he was a last season's preseason gem. So he's had this season's preseason gem. Probably he will not be that case. So that 6 million spot is where he has
Yeah,
to probably
I
He
work.
think
probably
downgrading
might need
Allison,
to. I think he
downgrading
probably might
Allison
need.
would.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Go on, one thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, go on. It's your idea to downgrade Allison. Yeah.
Don't get Ellison. Yeah, maybe downgrade Ellison to a 4.5 again because you'll
Mm,
get one, and
mm,
then one of the premium defenders I would say downgrade
mm.
to a
And then
5.
upgrade on Ben drama, as you say. Mm,
Yeah, if you
yeah.
want to go with that, like
Mm,
Matty Cash at 5, so let's say point 0.5 you take,
mm,
and let's say you get Raya or Sanchez, whoever you want. So you
mm,
have 1.5, and
mm.
then you can probably split around maybe like Benrama, you 7.5, right? You'll get, let's say
Yeah,
Rashford at 6.5. I mean, just throwing up, you have to play around with your squad here and there.
yeah. Another suggestion is downgrading Perisic to a 4.5, like a Tomiyasu, and Allison to Raya will save you 2 million, and you can do Benrama to the 8 million slot, Saka, Mount, or a Foden, which will be more nailed picker or a more
Or maybe
secure option.
Benrama to 6.57 and upgrade one more bench midfielder so that your bench is a bit strong in case if things go wrong.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, so let's move on to the next person then. So, yeah, it's Victoras. Srini, I'll let you do the honors. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the one that caught my eye. This is an interesting draft with three forwards like in Jesus, Nunes, and Haaland. He has invested heavily. We haven't seen these kind of
Mm,
drafts over the last 1 year, so it is quite refreshing to see this. And
yeah.
uh, and in midfield he has Coutinho, Rashford, Mount, Trossard, and Pereira. In defense he has Johnny, James, Cancelo, Trent, and Neco Williams. On goal, he has Raya and Sanchez and still has 1 million in the bank. So I like this draft very much. This looks like a one premium draft with just Haaland, but it has a very good overall team structure. Like you can have 14 solid players who can rely on week in and week out. This team has 15 starters, 15 people who can start, who will start most of the games. So I think this is a good draft. But the only thing is, I will wait and watch Nunes at the moment. Downgrade Nunes to someone like a Tony or a Wilson, like or follow the striker rotation what we suggested moving on to them. and invest the money to upgrade the Coutinho and Rashfords.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. So I'll move on. So this one is from Buga. So I'll rate this draft. So it's Mendy at goal. That's Mendy and James. So it's a double up. Cancelo, Tripper, and Trent. So I think I'll stick with the same of what you said. Like Chelsea, a single defense is good until game week 8, considering who they play. So yeah, other than that, he has Haaland. So it's two premiums. Coutinho, Odegaard, and Rashford. So I think these three are dependent on preseason, right? So Coutinho is at 7. Odegaard could be rotated with Fabio Vieira, and Rashford is again it's not nailed, but he's cheap, so we'll have to see. But overall, it's a very balanced draft. I think he has just 2-3 more slots to fix. So overall, I would say it's a pretty good draft. But Odegaard and Rashford are the ones we need to monitor. Yeah. So the next one, Srini, for
Blue
Blue.
next draft is from Blue Phoenix. Yes, the surprising goalkeeper in David De Gea.
He has
And
more faith in United defense than us.
Mm.
okay, in defense he has Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, James, and Perisic. Big at the back. In midfield he has Madison, Diaz, Mahrez, Bowen, and in forward he has Haaland. His bench has Greenwood, Douglas Lewis, and Davis. I think this is a good draft, having five at the back, 5-4-1 as a formation. But the thing is, this is an interesting draft to 3 8 million 8.5. Sorry, 4 8 to 8.5 midfielders. This is one of the unique drafts which I haven't seen at all. No, Salah is on risk to take, but at the cost of four reliable 8 to 8.5 mids in Madison, Mahrez, and Bowen, I think this is a good one. Bowen is a good player, but at 8.5 and West Ham also having the European playoff games in game week 3, game week 4 time, I think, and also West Ham have difficult fixtures to begin with, right? So I think Bowen is a wait and watch maybe, or move Bowen to a Saka, save the point 0.5 million. Saka has very good fixtures to start with, and then upgrade the point 0.5 to improve your defense, is what my suggestion is.
Yes. So moving on, it's Adrian Miller. He's a loyal supporter of Allaboutfpl. So yeah, shout out to him. Yeah, Aditya, what do you think of his draft? Yeah.
I mean, most of the picks are pretty much what has been going around in the community. So again, I don't need to speak a lot here. Again, the only
Yeah.
thing I'm concerned is that he has Diallo and Murphy. So I think this is a 5-3-2 again
Yeah,
because
it's a 5-3-2. Yeah. It's a 5-3-2.
that's where I'm a bit. The big at the back always sounds good. Like every week they're going to give you goal, assist, and clean sheet,
Hmm.
or one of the three will happen. But then that's so rare. What happens is at the start of the season,
Hmm.
teams defensively they take time to adjust. Once they are done, the big and the back, philosophy and idea makes a lot of sense. So, but at start going, I mean, big at the back, Trent, Cancelo, James. Now we're hearing that Chelsea might play a back four, right? I'm not sure how
Chelsea might play a back
might
four. So
play.
they, yeah.
How well will that? How would that impact their fullbacks? Is something we have to
Will
wait
they
and watch.
sign centre backs in the first place to last year the defense is we need to have an
They
eye
lost
on.
Rudiger. Rudiger is a very key
Yeah,
defender, and
they have
without
those,
Rudiger,
no Christensen, like they don't have the depth at the moment.
so I don't know how things are going to go with Chelsea. Like Chelsea, I'm really,
Hmm.
we have to wait and see to pick Chelsea players. So with regards to initial draft, this is basically, I mean, people are making drafts based on the impression of last season because
Yeah.
that's what will immediately come to your head. So yeah, I
Hmm.
mean,
One suggestion to the draft is I think since he has both Raya and Jansen, double up is too much. I think I'll move the Jansen to Tomiyasu or Ben White to
Hmm.
accommodate an
Jansen,
Arsenal
Johnny
defense.
also is a good pick.
Yeah,
If you're
John is
going to
also a
play
good
back
shout.
five, you want offensive players. So
Hmm.
Johnny would be the sensible option.
Yeah.
Or because I'm looking at maybe getting one 5.5 midfielder somewhere in place of one, just in case if I need an emergency
He
first.
could also actually get in Bruno Guimaraes at 6, save point 0.5 there, and probably save point 0.5 from
Cash
he-
to another
cash.
4.5 defender.
Yeah, and then probably upgrade one of the Diallo or Murphy to a 5.5 like NATO.
Gordon,
Yeah,
Wallace, Neto
yeah,
are
yeah,
three good 5.5 options top of my
yeah.
mind. So
But I love the fact that this is the first draft that you've seen that has both Salah and Luis Diaz together. So that's another interesting combination. So yeah,
This is going to be the best Liverpool triple up with Diaz, Salah, and Trent, like how we had Jota, Salah, and Trent of last
mm,
time, where it
mm.
worked
this
wonders.
season it's Diaz or Robertson is the question, big question
Yeah,
to
yeah,
answer.
yeah. Yes, yes. So, yeah, okay. So let's jump on to the next set. So I think we need to rush a little bit. Yeah. So
Yeah, fast now.
I'll go for Joel. So he again has a big draft of big at the back. So he has triple up on City defense. That is really interesting. So there is no Haaland, but he has Edison, Cancelo, and Diaz, along with Trent, James, and Perisic. That's full on defense. I've not seen this big. So it's 5-2-3 with Darwin Nunes, Jesus, and Mitrovic. I don't
Mitrovic
know.
can be Neto. Neto is on the bench, so
Yeah,
Mitrovic
NATO.
can be Neto.
Mitrovic could be NATO. Yeah, uh, it's a
I think
brave, brave draft.
triple up is too much to begin
Yeah,
with. The,
yeah,
the risk
yeah.
you take at the start of the season is little too much for a triple up, even for a team like City coming from a City fan. I think
Yes,
double up maybe you can you can manage, but triple up is too much. You can move that uh, City spot to maybe another 4.5 defender slot because there is so
yeah,
much value in the 4.5 defender slot, and
yes.
upgrade Mitrovic to a Tony
No, I
or
think you could do Darwin Nunes to Haaland by downgrading one of the premium defenders, and
yeah.
also down Mitrovic to Unda or Avioni, so he has a little bit more balance there. But two mids is something first time. Okay, NATO could play it, so three. It could be three mids. Yeah, it's an interesting choice though. Yeah. Yes, Aditya, your thoughts on Clover's draft? Yeah.
Yeah, so Ramsdale. Oh,
Yeah.
last year's confusion of Leno Ramsdale. So Ramsdale at 5, and he has Henderson. So 5
Yeah.
plus 4.5, you've already gone 9.5 with your goalkeeper,
Yeah.
which I will, it's a bit, I mean, I would even say 4.5 plus 4 also is enough
Yeah.
if you're not worried. So I mean, you could potentially, if you go with one 4.5, let's say for just sake of saying Raya and some 4 million goalie,
Hmm.
you'll roughly save 1 million
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because you already have Tomiyasu from Arsenal. So
Yeah.
unless you want Ramsdale save points desperately and bonus, you keep him.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
going 4.5 plus 4 means you'll save one, and then that one you can float around here and there wherever you want. Then you have Castagna is 4.5, Tomiyasu is 4.5, James Cancelo, and Patterson. Yeah, Patterson is more likely not to play immediately. I think it is Coleman still plays to lose, but I think Patterson will slowly get integrated to the side, is what we are hearing. The preseason will give us better answers. Dewsbury Hall, Trossard, Salah, Son, and Bruno G, and Haaland and Mbuemo. Yeah, I mean it's a good draft, but you have to tweak around where you
The
have kind of,
premium draft.
yeah. So you've kind of overspent in goalkeepers, is what I would say. I mean, at the end of the day, if Ramsdale might start scoring points, don't come after me once the game begins. But I think maybe getting 1 million off or maybe point 0.5 off from there, and then getting that point 0.5 maybe from Dewsbury Hall to Neto might be a bit better at 5.5. At least you will have some assurance like, okay, this guy might do something in attack.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say at this point.
Yeah. So going on to Marcus draft, slightly hard to read, but it's an again a double up on Chilwell and James. That's interesting. That's the first time I've seen that.
Triple
Cancelo,
Chelsea,
Perisic.
Mount also.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
it's Raya, Chilwell, James, Cancelo, Perisic, and Trent. That's a solid backline. Mount, Neto, and Salah, Jesus, and Haaland. I think this is pretty much the template that's there right now, except for Mount. That could be
Saka.
Saka as well, but he is already Jesus. I don't have anything against this draft. This is pretty much a solid draft because James and Chilwell, they are capable of attacking returns even though their clean sheet goes. So it's definitely a really, really good draft, I would say. Yeah. So uh, yeah. So the last set of drafts. So three more.
FPL
Shini.
back. I'll
Yeah.
I'll pick up FPL back. Yes, Nick Pope in goal. Uh, Interesting option. Uh, and the backline is Cancelo, Trent, Perisic, Trippier. Midfield, Salah, Bernardo Silva, Neto, Luis Diaz. Forward line has Kane and Jesus. On the bench, he has Andreas Pereira, Dragon, and Greenwood. Yeah, this draft is we have few differential options like Bernardo Silva and Nick Pope. So Bernardo Silva, I think he's a good player and is very much important to City's system, but not so in FPL terms is what we all could agree on. I think there will be no more false nine, and he won't be used there. He'll be used in more of a midfield three rather than a front three. Is also what I'm hearing. So Bernardo Silva can be moved on to better attacking players. And the double up on Newcastle defense is little too much to start with. They have City and Liverpool within the first 5 weeks, game week 3 and game week 5. So you could use the Trippier to move to someone like Tierney, and I think Bernardo Silva can be moved on to someone cheaper, and the money can be spent elsewhere on defense.
Yeah, so let's jump on to Fras. So it's Allison, Robbo, and Luis Diaz. It's no Salah draft. So it
And
has
no Trent.
Cancelo, Justin, Tripper, Robbo. No Trent as well. Yeah. So it's KDB, Rashford, Luis Diaz, McAllister, Vardy, and Kane. Johnny has a different in the bench. Um,
Full on differential draft. This is.
yeah, this is.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how McAllister came into the picture. I would prefer Trossard more than McAllister. McAllister was kind of talked upon a little bit, but he was never really into that FPL asset range. But he's a really good player. I would prefer Trossard there. There is no sorry Haaland as well, but it has Vardy and Kane. It's too much away from the template, I would say. Yeah, so maybe couple of more safer options that everyone is going with makes this would make this draft a lot more stabler, so that you don't end up catching up for the very first few game weeks of the season. But considering if he wants to wild card early and go with a little bit more punts, this could work. Yeah. Aditya, the last one on the right. Yeah.
Yeah, so the last one has Raya, Trent, Tomiyasu, Perisic, Laporte, Diaz, Martinelli, Son, Salah, Luis Diaz,
Vardy.
Vardy, and then the bench ones I don't know because it's cropped,
I,
so
Yeah,
we don't.
I
the
think
five
it's
four one.
Sam Greenwood.
Sam
Second is
Greenwood,
Colback.
Andres Pereira is
And
definitely the
Colback.
second one.
And
And
Colback.
Colback. Yeah, so it's basically
The
yeah.
Colback is not forward, no?
No,
Mid
Colback is
mid.
a mid. Yeah, the forward is I
The
think.
midfield looks like Pereira. I'm not sure. I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah, so for an initial draft, it looks good, but you can tweak around a bit. Maybe this is again, we are seeing a lot of backfire drafts with a lot of premium
Yeah.
defenders,
Yeah.
and people have starting to play a bit different now. But at the end of the day, before game week one, which team you lock is going to matter. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure every day people are going to tinker.
Hmm.
So tomorrow he
Hmm.
might not have DS, he might have Johnny, and then he might have got somebody else's. He might have got Haaland only by now as a striker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people will tinker so much. Yeah, I mean for an initial draft, it looks good, but you have to make changes. I would say maybe Laporte Diaz is some. Maybe I will remove one of these guys, downgrade a bit
Yeah. I
to
think
Johnny, and
remove
then
one, get Cancelo, and then probably a 4.5. That would give you money to spend elsewhere. Martinelli is again not a nailed option. He could.
hmm,
He's not
Yeah.
guaranteed anymore to start. Yeah. Yes.
So one suggestion would be downgrade Vardy's 9.5. It's a little different price range. It will be
Vardy
difficult
to
to
I
switch
would say
around.
Vardy to Jesus
Jesus
is better.
and
That's what
remove
exactly.
Martinelli.
Yeah.
And remove Martinelli. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Oh, okay. So we have two more. So I'll go for Sam. Yeah, it's Raya, Trent, Chilwell, Tomiyasu, Doherty. Finally, someone has Doherty after all that we spoke. Salah, Luis Diaz, Martinelli, Maris. Okay. Kane and Jesus. So he doesn't have Haaland, but he has gone for Maris. So
Yes, Cucurella
I'm
on the
gonna let
bench.
Srini take this. Yeah.
Yes, Cucurella on the bench, which is an interesting option. I think if he stays at Brighton, he's a good option. If he comes to City, he's a good option.
Good
So
option. Yeah. So
you can hold on to him. Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
like this draft very much. It has covered all the bases, strong
yeah,
attacking
yeah.
Kane, Jesus, and
Hmm.
maybe Martinelli. You need to watch the friendlies to confirm if he is the one. And if you want to take the risk on Mares or move to someone a safer option like Foden or a Saka, is what you can think on.
So, what's your take on Maris? Like, this is supposed we'll okay. I think we'll talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we'll hold that. Yeah. So the last one, it has,
last one is from
I-
Shaihan.
yeah,
It has Pickford on goal, Trent, Westergaard, Tierney, James in defense. In midfield, it has Salah, Son, Saka, Pulisic. Oh, it has Haaland and Edward as the strike force. On the bench, it has Tompkins, White, and Gale. I think
hmm.
this draft needs to be a little bit. It can be a little bit more better. It has Westergaard
No, but
is
it's a
not
three
even.
premium draft. No, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
three premium.
it's a three
Yeah,
premium draft, but still can be made like because someone like a Pulisic will not be surely nil because they are
yeah.
getting in Sterling and Pulisic won't be a regular starter, and Edward is also not nailed. Mateta is another slot at 5.5 who can push Edward out, so they'll be sharing the minutes. So 5.5 slot can be someone like Unda or little bit invest more from elsewhere and make it a make it make it a 6 or 6.5 million striker. Yeah, I think this draft is little too much. Bench is not good. You need to remove someone or the other to make the bench stronger.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of more questions. So yeah, I think it's not clear, so I'll read it out from my phone. Considering of Nunes, Haaland, and Jesus while having a premium defense too, what's your idea? So it's basically Nunes, Haaland, and Jesus, that three premium forwards and a premium defense, which means the mid
Midfield
is
will be weak.
midfield.
Yes,
I think
yeah,
I
I
would
think
say just two is enough. Three is bit stretched. Yeah, let's see how Nunes plays. Because we don't know a lot more of what happens there. Aditya, your take on these going at three forwards in Nunes, Haaland, and Jesus?
My honest opinion at this point, we have not seen preseason games, so we
Yeah,
can't talk more on this. But without preseason games in picture, the only player I would consider from these three is Gabriel Jesus. I will not even think of Haaland and Nunes at this point because I have not watched them play. Once that comes into picture, once I have more info, once I'm clear enough, I will probably get one of them. Maybe Haaland is what I would inch more at, but Jesus is definitely going to be the one player I will look to get at. Have a better midfield and defense for now. As we approach closer to the game week one, make those changes, whatever you feel is fine.
thoughts
yeah.
on
So
Coutinho. Next question. Thoughts on Coutinho. Coutinho has two good fixtures to start off, but looks like Bailey will be fit and Buendia was pushing Coutinho for a spot last season. So we need to have a watch on the preseason. And for the first 2 weeks, they have very good fixtures. So I think he's worth a shout.
yeah, so Rashford going to play up front or not? We'll not know until we see few of the preseason games. So that's a wait and watch.
Ronaldo is leaving or not. We have plenty of
Mm.
questions
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
plenty of
answered.
questions
So
to answer there. Yeah, Haaland or Son? Interesting.
Son,
That's a really
Son,
interesting question. Yeah, it has to be Son
Son.
at the moment. Yeah, so Son is nailed. Son has the potential to have captaincy as well. No matter what, Haaland. Yeah, if it was me, I'd go for Son between these two. Aditya, your thoughts?
Son.
Son.
Yeah, okay. That's unilateral. I think all of us have been bitten by not having Son in the last season, so that pretty much adds up to it. Salah or Son? Again, yeah, it's
I think you need to have both of them in your two premium squad. That one would be the safer one. But if
yeah,
you need to, it's the matter of spending the extra 1 million, and both are good players. Both will be getting more than 200 plus points for sure. It is a matter of whether you'll be spending the extra 1 million on Salah or attack the fixtures based on the fixtures, rotate them in a way you get the captaincy option also, right? So it's totally up to you.
yeah. So when is the best time to use the first wild card? So this is an interesting question. We covered a little bit in the beginning. So game week 8 is a good period because we'll have the international break there. So you could wild card. improve your team value there, and things. But but with the unlimited transfer, it's opened up a lot of ideas, right? So you could play any game week where you feel your team needs it, because you'll anyways have another one at the end of game week 16. So uh, game week 8 is after game week 8 is the most common option a lot of people will go for, but that doesn't mean you'll have to do it then. So it could be
Early wildcard
anytime.
also.
Yeah, an early wildcard as well. A draft without Salah, I think that's something that we've covered with the drafts eight previously. An interesting question: NATO or Guminares? Aditya, your take? NATO's
Uh,
5.5.
I think Pedro Neto, in my opinion, might edge it, but will again preseason will give us more answer whether how well his position is going to be there.
Yeah,
Bruno
yeah,
Guimaraes, I feel is someone who plays in 3 or 2 midfield, probably who makes those extra late runs in the box
yeah,
and takes advantage of those empty spaces and scores.
Good
So
on
yeah,
I
him.
think he's price 6, right?
yeah. It's
Bruno
six.
Yeah,
Guimaraes.
six.
Yeah, yeah.
I think 6 is a bit too much for him.
At the moment.
Honestly, yeah, at the moment, unless
Yeah,
we get more evidence, yes, but
yeah,
without
yeah,
evidence, can't.
yeah, yeah.
So Neto is better at 5.5 for now.
Yes. So
Jesus or Nunes, we have already covered. Jesus is the pick. Nunes, we haven't seen him. We need to wait and watch. Why no
yeah,
one is mentioning Ramsdale? Do you see Walker Peters as a valid 4.5 defender? No one is
I
mentioning
think
Ramsdale because he's priced at 5 million and we have better 4.5 keepers or better Arsenal defenders at 4.5. So
4.5.
Ramsdale is
Yeah,
ruled out. And
yeah.
what do you think about Kyle Walker Peters at 4.5, Surya?
I think he's a very good attacking defender. There's no doubt about his attacking capabilities, but Southampton's fixtures look hard at the beginning, at least till game week 8. So their fixtures turn. So
They have Tottenham, United, and Chelsea in the first 6 games.
yeah,
So
so that pretty much sums it. But he should be an option in a wild card draft, say after game week 8. So uh, yeah, I think it was a Friday night deadline, and a lot of us free trade, and Walker Peters took 3 bonus last season. So his attacking strength is known, but yeah, the fixtures don't favor at the moment. So last three questions. I'm not seeing Mount or Kulusevski in any drafts. Am I missing something? So Kulusevski is basically because Richarlison has signed. There could be rotation there. Mount, yeah, we don't know which formation Chelsea is going to play. Will Rafinha come in? If Rafinha comes in, it's going to be a game changer, because he's going to be the most important Chelsea attacker. We still don't know. But Mount is always that kind of player who's always underspoken by regular FPL players, but still keeps ticking along, keeps scoring, keeps hauling big. The Havertz versus Mount against Norwich last season and evidence. Yeah, Aditya, what's your take on Mount? Because yeah, he'll eventually be owned by a lot of managers, but still you'll somehow feel he's not owned by a lot of managers. Yeah, he's that kind of a
he's not
player.
a Twitter
Mount,
material.
Yeah,
yeah. So Mount is someone who falls in that Bernardo Silva category, who are very
yeah.
crucial to their respective teams, who will
Mm,
score you points in a longer run in
mm,
20-25 game weeks, not in like 3-4 game weeks they'll explode.
mm,
So
mm,
it for them you need to have a lot of patience, and they are players who will give you points in longer spells, not shorter spells. So that's the
yeah,
reason why you are not seeing a lot of Mount. And with change in formation, I think they might play a 4-3-3 and all. We don't know exactly who's going to play where. I think when Gallagher is back, so
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's a good
Um,
point. Yes. Mm,
so
mm,
we'll have to see. Mount is definitely one of their key players who will play in some position. But if
mm.
let's say if they play Sterling, then there's let's say they play 4-3-3. Hypothetically, I think Chris somewhere we'll talk to him once he joins us in about a week or so when we cover Chelsea. We'll have someone who will give us a better answer in terms of Chelsea assets. But if let's say Sterling plays and then the striker
Sterling,
will go.
Rafinha, and Havertz in a front
Rafinha,
three.
I don't think will happen. I'm pretty sure Rafinha is out. So let's
Mm,
say there's no Rafinha.
mm.
Okay, so then Sterling, striker is Havertz or Werner. Right side, we don't know who, because Ziyech might go to Milan. So that's what we are
Yeah,
hearing.
yeah, yeah.
So Mount, I really don't know. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We
we
don't.
don't know. Yeah, yeah. But closer to the season start, it should be a good
We'll have a
option.
clear. That's what.
Yeah, I think we missed a slide on the City players, but I'm gonna pin that question because it's pretty much the same what you wanted to cover. So yeah, Pep's new system, will Cancelo's freedom of taking shots affected by Haaland. So, Srini, I'll answer that alone. Cancelo, I think, had the most shots with the defenders, but he did end up scoring only one goal. Those shots never materialized into goals last season. So you keep that aside. Still, he was a good FPL asset without those shots becoming goals. So that should continue even if that's the case of him not taking shots. So I let Srini talk about the Pep's new system. Alvarez coming in, Sterling going out most likely, Mahrez signing a new contract. So what do you think uh, will Pep do with City squad with a change in City squad? Yeah.
Yeah, considering the current changes and Sterling, assuming Sterling has already left
Hmm.
Manchester City, the striker position is Haaland and the backup would be Alvarez. On the right, we will mostly have Mahrez starting most of the games, and Foden could be one of the picks. Like there was an article in Athletic recently stating that Foden wants to play on the right most of the games. So we could
Oh.
see more of Foden as the right winger in some of the games, and when Mahrez is rested. So the on the left we again have Foden and Grealish fighting for one of these slots. In the midfield three, it would be Phillips. I think won't be starting all the games. It will be Rodri, De Bruyne, and Gundogan slash Bernardo Silva at the moment. So yeah, I think Foden can play there also. Foden can play as eight. Foden can play on your left wing, on your right wing. So I think Foden will be the most safest City pick at the moment because of the positions he can play in and the depth City don't have on the left wing. So I think Foden will be the safer pick. Regarding Mahrez is likely to be first choice on the right wing, but Pep prefers a system where he wants everyone, all the 11 players in the team to press. Haaland
Hmm.
is not that known very much for pressing,
Pressing.
and
Yeah.
Mahrez is also not known for his pressing. So I think that there won't be a system like it would be. Pep would be skeptical to start both Haaland and Mahrez initially in all the games. So
Ah.
it might be not be both of them starting for the first few weeks. So I think it will be either of Mahrez and Haaland in the few weeks, and then uh, as the Champions League games move on, and we
Yeah.
can see Bernardo also on the right if required.
Yeah.
Bernardo
Yeah.
can play as eight if required. So
Hmm.
I think Mahrez is hold at the moment because Foden has also can play at right wing.
Yeah.
Mahrez
Yeah.
is a hold for me at the moment, and Foden would be City midfielder. I'll be targeting on. Grealish is an interesting budget pick at 7, but as told again, like it's too much to risk 7 million for a starter. He doesn't take many shots also, so Foden will
Hmm.
be the safest City mid if you ask
Hmm.
me.
Your thoughts on Gundogan? I think he should be recovered well enough now. He played through an injury most of last season.
Yeah,
Uh,
he should be recovered, but I think he'll be fighting. He'll still not start all the games regularly because he doesn't bring that much in defensively. Bernardo Silva
hmm.
brings too much on the table defense wise. So I think
Hmm.
Gundogan, his price also in FPL also doesn't help at the moment. So Gundogan is a
Yeah.
avoid for at the moment.
Makes sense. So in this case, to wrap it up, Srini says Foden is the safest attacker, midfield option from City at the moment over Maris. Haaland being a definite choice. Your thoughts on Alvarez? Do you think Pep will put him right, or because he's continuously played till July, so uh,
Yeah.
he's not he would be given a break, or like he'll not be involved that much in preseason. Your thoughts on him, because he's at 6.5 million, maybe in the later stage of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe in the later stage of the season when you finally get a chance to decode Pep's teams and think Haaland will play the CL games and someone like Alvarez can also play on the right
Mm.
on the strike also. So I think he'll be getting 20-30 minutes on a regular basis, but won't be
Mhm.
a starter and he won't be an FPL option at least till game week 8.
Yeah, I know Pep hasn't done this, but two forwards, both Haaland and Alvarez, that's I, I,
I don't think so. From no forwards to two forwards, it's too much.
yeah, yeah, because I think again both of them will not press that much. So I think with Pep expecting everyone to press, that's too much of a change. So yeah, that sums up Alvarez as well. So I think we have managed to do everything in less than 90 minutes. So that's That's a good thing. So anything to add, Aditya, Srini?
All good. I think we are good to
Yeah,
go.
same here. All good.
Yeah. So thanks for joining in, guys. So we'll be doing a lot more streams in the coming weeks with Aditya spearheading it, with a lot more guests and a lot more co-hosts lined up. So hope you liked our
Team
stream.
previews. There'll be
And
team previews. We'll
yeah,
be talking about the particular teams, analyzing them. Like Aditya mentioned, we'll do something on Chelsea, on the smaller
yeah,
teams where you
yeah,
can find the unknown or hidden FPL gems.
yeah. So thanks for joining in. Do subscribe to our channel. We're just starting out, so we would appreciate your support there. And see you soon in the next episode. Hopefully with Aditya and a few more new guests as well. Yeah. Thanks, guys.